I mean, why do you consider it, seen from an Israeli perspective, lawful to target Palestinian civilians and destroy civilian property?
OK, we do not target the civilians. Let me be very clear on that. Civilians get killed. But we're trying not to, and we are warning ahead of time, losing the edge of surprise. Sometimes we will call them by phone or text them or send them leaflets and saying, this house is going to be targeted within 4 hours. You have 4 hours to escape.
You are at fight. I mean, you're indeed at a very bloody loggerhead with Hamas, and yet you refuse to actually hold negotiations with them. Why? They are your enemy.
Well, because they're not just an enemy. There is a kind of a Western approach that says, well, since you have an equation, there must be an A and a B. But the A says that we have two national movements that disagree with one another, and we can sit down. The B says, no, the Jewish national movement has no right because the Jewish people have no right. The Palestinian Authority accepts us as a rightful debater. The Hamas does not. They want they want, and their charter is very accurate about that.
Absolutely, denying your existence. On
Not
the other
only
hand,
that.
You like to present yourself as a mature, pluralist democracy.
Indeed.
Why do you not shake hands with Hamas and say, look, OK, let's talk about this. Maybe you don't recognise us initially, but we remember back in the day when Begin and ambassador talked to each other. At first they were enemies, and they ended up striking a perfect peace agreement.
Which only goes to the benefit of the Prime Minister and of the then Prime Minister and of the then President of Egypt. I was one of those who cheered Sadat as his motorcade passed through the streets of Jerusalem. The first thing Sadat did was to say that the psychological barrier is 70% of the conflict. And I hereby recognize Israel. We cannot take this chance. We have to work with those who recognize us, and the Palestinian Authority is the official representation of the Palestinian people.
But the people inside Gaza have opted for Hamas. They are their official representatives.
So you
and you have 1.7 million people living right next to major Israeli cities, and they're posing a challenge to you because of all the rockets coming from inside Gaza. Why don't you find a viable solution rather than just fighting?
Well, I think that the first solution is, the first step on the road to solution is to put an end to the rockets, to the missiles, to the mortars, to the tunnels, to the killing, to the kidnapping, and then we can sit down with the Palestinian Authority, not with Hamas. We discuss things with our enemies, that's true. The PLO was a bitter enemy until they recognized Israel. Then they stopped being the old PLO.
I know that history. I'm sure many of our viewers also do that. But you know that Hamas would probably say, look, if you lift your sanctions, if you allow our fishermen outside your 3-mile border, etc., if you give us the opportunity of having an international airport, maybe we would start thinking of the Zionist state as less an aggressor, more as a friend.
Well, we tried that in the past. Every now and then we lift some sanctions or some, make some amendments, and they're always met with treachery and with double talk and with attacks on
So you don't have a partner for peace?
We do have a partner of peace, and this is the Palestinian Authority. They're the official representatives of the Palestinian people, and we would like to go back to negotiations with them.